Welcome to List of 13. I'm Megan.
And I'm Rob. Thanks for watching. We make lists on various topics, find 13 awesome facts, and present them to you.
If you have tristodectophobia, this video may not be for you. Otherwise, enjoy the list.
Here at Lists of 13, we like cars. Some may even say we have an unhealthy obsession with them.
It doesn't matter what kind of car it is, we are interested in them. Fast cars, slow cars, new cars, old cars, American cars, imports, any kind of cars.
In this series, we are talking about cars. All kinds of cars. The good, the bad, and the things that you probably didn't know.
The owner of the Pontiac Buggy Company in Pontiac, Michigan, recognized that his products were going the way of the horse and buggy. They launched as an Oakland motor car company in 1907. In 1909, they introduced a line of four-cylinder cars. When owned by GM, Pontiac started as a small economy car, but when the company dissolved, their tagline said that they were driving excitement. Today we're talking about 13 facts about Pontiac that you probably didn't know.
Number 1. The first car widely accepted as a muscle car was the 1964 Pontiac GTO, selling 32,450 units in its debut year.
Seems like something both teenage boys and middle-aged men having a midlife crisis would enjoy.
I mean, they were pretty fun to drive. Any muscle car, really.
Number 2. The owner of Pontiac Buggy Company in Pontiac, Michigan, collaborated with a car designer to build a small two-cylinder car which had been rejected by Cadillac. When they weren't able to sell the car to Cadillac, they started Oakland Motor Car Company.
Which is funny because then later on, Oakland Motor Company was bought out by General Motors, and so it became a General Motors company anyways. Number 3. Oakland was absorbed into General Motors, and by 1926, they produced the first vehicle named Pontiac, a 6-cylinder car designed to sell for the price of a 4-cylinder car, and named after an Ottawa chief.
Number 4. In the late 90s, GM came out with a concept car they called the Pontiac Aztec. Originally, it was an aggressive-looking, capable off-road vehicle. It was a body-on-frame car that had a powerful engine. Unfortunately, what we got was a front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive unibody with a 3.4-liter V6 and no real off-road capability.
I saw some prototypes of the early Pontiac Aztec and I was like, that's going to be a cool car. And the piece of junk that they came out with was really, really disappointing.
Well, I don't know that that's just unique to them. There's a lot of really cool concept cars that all kinds of car companies make, but you don't ever see those versions hit the road.
Yeah, that is true, but I was pretty disappointed either way. And not only was the thing not performance oriented like the concept was, it also was so ugly. When that thing hit the streets, I was like, what is that?
One super hideous car.
Number 5. Pontiac has experience with many rebadged cars. Some good, some not so good. Examples being the Le Mans from the late 80s and 1990, which was made by Daewoo. The Vibe was made by Toyota. The G6 was an Opel. And the G8 and the last iteration of the GTO were made by Holden in Australia.
Number 6. In the 80s, a 2-seat mid-engine coupe called the Fiero was introduced. It was plagued by an anemic and slow 4-cylinder engine that was called the Iron Duke, or a slightly less anemic 2.8-liter V6. They have also had many fires because of bad design. It was a car that could have been a great seller for Pontiac, instead it was a flop.
It's too bad they didn't do a little bit more research and development, put something a little bit more powerful in it or turbocharge it.
Right, it might have done better if they hadn't decided to put the same engine as a mail truck in a sports car.
This is true. And if they could have made those engine parts in different spots where they wouldn't catch on fire, that probably would have been good too.
Right, cars without fires are better sellers for sure.
We want to thank you again and tell you how much it means for you to watch this video.
We would really appreciate if you would do some things to help our channel grow and reach more people.
We would be so grateful for you to subscribe to the channel, like this video, ring the bell, and share this video with your friends. As a result, YouTube will share our video with more people.
Number 7, the economic recession of 1960 and 61 sparked a renewed interest in smaller vehicles. As a result, cars like the Chevy Corvair, Ford Falcon, and Pontiac Tempest made their debut around this time. The first GTO was actually a trim package that could be bought with the Tempest. Many Tempests had 4-cylinder or inline-6 motors. The 4-cylinder was exactly half the size of the 389 V8, and the GTO had the 389 V8. The GTO package in 1964 for the Pontiac Le Mans added $295.90 to the price tag. In today money, that would be $2,201.13.
Number 8. Before the Pontiac GTO was the Ferrari GTO. In both cases, GTO stood for Gran Turismo Omologato. Luckily for Pontiac, Ferrari didn't trademark their GTO.
The thing that did happen, though, is Ferrari was pretty mad at GTO for using the same name.
At least they were both cool cars.
The Ferrari much more so, in my opinion.
Right, but I mean, it's one of the most memorable Pontiacs that was ever made, so
True story.
doesn't have such a bad legacy.
Number 9. In 1965, John DeLorean was promoted to division head of Pontiac. This is the same person who eventually founded the DeLorean Motor Company.
I wonder if he did the concept car of the Aztec.
Well, by the time the Aztec was around, he was actually making his own cars and then having a company that became defunct also.
Yeah, I guess that was quite a bit after his time. But speaking of the concept car, it took crazy looking like the DeLoreans that he later produced.
Very true.
Number 10. At only 8 units, the rarest Firebird was the 1969 Firebird Trans Am Ram Air 3 convertible. Every Trans Am is a Firebird. Not every Firebird is a Trans Am.
8 is a very small number for cars being manufactured.
Do you know if any of them still exist?
According to the interwebs, YouTube to be exact, it looks like there's at least one still left. I will leave a link to the video below.
Cool.
Number 11. A Native American headdress was used as Pontiac's logo until 1956. This was updated to a Native American red arrowhead designed for 1957 in all usage except the high beam indicator lamp, which retained the original logo through 1970. The arrowhead logo is also known as the Dart.
Well, yet another example of how uncouth businesses, sports teams, etc. were to naming or logoing after Native Americans.
And the crazy thing is, I didn't even see that looking like an arrowhead until we did this list.
Right, I thought it was just a dart. Number 12. In the hierarchy of GM's 5 divisions, it was slotted above Chevrolet, but not as fancy or as luxurious as Oldsmobile, Buick, and Cadillac. By emphasizing its wide track design, it billed itself as the performance division of General Motors, which built excitement.
Which is funny because there's a lot of cars that I can think of from Pontiac that are not really that exciting at all. I mean, the Tempest being one of them. And then more recent additions like the Grand Am and the Sunfire, and before that the Sunbird. I mean, the last two that I mentioned were just rebadged and slightly reworked Chevy Cavaliers.
Well, I feel personally attacked. I have drove both a Grand Am and a Sunfire, and when I bought my Sunfire, it was way cooler than any Chevy Cavalier.
But I'm just saying mechanically they're exactly identical.
Well, it was a fun zippy little car, so there.
And number 13, facing financial problems and restructuring efforts, GM announced during the 2008 financial crash that it would discontinue the Pontiac brand by the end of 2010.
Sad times, if anything, just because it was the end of an era. We hope you enjoyed this list of 13 things about Pontiac that you probably didn't know.
Tell us in the comments which fact surprised you the most, or if you've ever owned a Pontiac vehicle.
Thanks again for watching.
If you have an idea for a new video, tell us in the comments. We'll mention you if we do it.
We hope you have an awesome day.
And please be kind to each other.